Greetings, viewers. This is an important announcement. Due to the increasing amount of questions we receive each week, it has unfortunately become necessary to further restrict their limit, because the show is becoming difficult to produce. Going forward, may I ask that you each send only one question or telephone call request per week. 2-part questions will also be accepted. Our apologies for having to do this. We hope you understand our need to do so. We at SkeleTalk Productions wish to accommodate everyone's contributions without the need to cherry-pick. We really appreciate the loyalty and support of our subscribers and wish to provide you with quality entertainment to the best of our ability. As the channel grows, the episodes will inevitably get longer, but for now, this restriction will give myself and my production team a bit more elbow room. Thank you for your understanding, and thank you for choosing SkeleTalk. Right, on with the show. Greetings! I am Skeletor, and welcome back to SkeleTalk, the series where I answer your questions. It's the internet's best kept secret. Okay, we start with 2 questions from Steve Jones. Number 1. I have collected 600 rats and was wondering the best method of training them. Well, Steve, it is best to train rats individually, so you've set yourself quite the task. Rats can be taught to recognize their own names, but I am not confident that you will be able to remember 600 names, let alone recall which name belongs to each rodent. I wish you had contacted me for advice when you only had 3 rats, but I fear that you've set yourself up to fail by gathering so many. I think your best course of action is to set up a rat shop. I'm sorry, I can't offer any better advice. Steve also asks if I know any wholesale lube dealers. I'm afraid I don't, and I don't believe your questions are unrelated. I think you are devising a scheme involving slippery rats, and this leaves me with a feeling of disquiet. Thank you for the questions and inevitable nightmares. Weapon Zero writes, after calling yourself last week, are you afraid you broke the space-time continuum, and did you get that autograph? Firstly, no, I am not afraid of anything. How dare you? And secondly, yes, I did get my own autograph, and I was very envious because I would love to have been there in person. Unfortunately, I was busy signing autographs to myself.
Skeletor!
What, Whiplash?
Skeletor, none of that made any sense.
I know, Whiplash. I'm going to go and lay down again. Oh, Whiplash.
Yes, Skeletor?
Get out of my sight before I beat you.
Yes, Skeletor.
Alex James has 2 questions. Number 1. Have you ever attempted to recruit any of Hordak's henchmen? Yes, and I was successful in my attempt. Leech, Mantenna, and Grislaw all now work for me. And if Monkey Boy ever comes up with a reason for their appearance, maybe we'll see them on the channel before hell freezes over. Right, and question 2. Is there truth in the story that you rocked a mullet during the latter half of the 1980s? Yes, here's a photo of me taken at the time. Thanks for the questions, Alex. Paul Wilson asks, have you ever sneaked up behind Mantenna and surprised him, causing his eyes to shoot out? If not, could you do it under a ceiling fan to see what happens? No and no. If I want to surprise him, I shall push a teaspoon up his arse like a normal person. Thanks, Paul. Soda Cauldron is wondering if Chubby Checker, Psycho, or Belgians in the Congo were responsible for starting the fire. I'm sorry, Soda, I cannot provide any elucidation regarding this matter, as I have no idea about what you are talking. My musical knowledge is less than minimal. Sorry about that, but you have lost me, sir. Soda also asks, does night swimming really deserve a quiet night? Again, I'm afraid I don't know. I googled night swimming, discovered it was a song by R.E.M, and immediately lost interest in living. It seems they've only written one song, and they've released it 63 different times. My apologies if anyone likes R.E.M. Somebody has to, but that person is not me. However, give me R.E.M. over Queen all day.
Skeletor! Skeletor!
What, Whiplash?
Skeletor, I like R.E.M. Their songs are catchy.
That might be the case, Whiplash, but they also make me want to kill myself. And now I've upset the algorithm and ensured that this video will perform badly. This is not Soda's fault, it's yours.
Sorry, Skeletor.
Not good enough. Get out of my sight before I beat you.
Yes, Skeletor.
Right. Thanks for the question, Soda. I'm sorry I was grumpy about R.E.M. I think it touched a nerve. Love you. Mike Ciccone writes, if you could remake any film with the cast replaced with Muppets and one role for yourself, what would the film and your role be? I think it would be Glenn Ross, and I would take Al Pacino's character purely for the abusive rant at the Kevin Spacey character. Brilliant film. Mike also asks, what most disappoints you about the United Kingdom? Sorry, Mike, that would be a very long list, and we don't have the time. I will pick two things at random, though. Litter and dirty rivers. Thanks for the questions. Andrew asks, if you could poach an accessory from another toy line, what would it be? Probably a proton pack from the real Ghostbusters. Great question, Andrew. Luke at Reynolds Reviews asks, are the MOTU jelly sweets from the 80s still available on Eternia? Oh, unfortunately not, Luke. Man, that takes me back. They were amazing. I'd love to see those again. Now you've made me sad, but thank you for the memories. Retro Toy Guy Sai has two questions. Number one, the Smurfs, the Gummy Bears, or the Teletubbies? Which WhatsApp group would you join? Well, the Smurfs group has about 300 notifications a day, and I haven't got time for that. And the Teletubbies just repeat the same nonsense over and over again. So, by process of elimination, that leaves the Gummy Bears and their tales of bouncing. And question 2 is for Darth Vader. I'll just call him. Hold on. Okay. Right, it's ringing.
Hello?
Hello, you helmet polisher. I have a question for you. What's your favourite Natalie Portman performance? Thor, Thor the Dark World, or Thor Love and Thunder?
Black Swan.
That wasn't an option. Choose again.
Black Swan.
Still not an option.
I don't care. You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
That's not even remotely true.
Well, take it up with HR after you piss off. Right. Sorry, Sai. Anakin's being a bellend again, but thanks for the questions. Whilst I've still got my phone, Kat wants me to call Duckula to ask if he ever craves blood. Okay. Right. It's ringing.
Hello?
Hello, Duckula. It's Skeletor. Tell me, do you ever crave blood?
Yes, all the time.
Really?
No, of course not. I'm a vegetarian, you bird.
Oh, well, I'm glad I took the time to call you. I do hate a pointless exercise. Goodbye. Okay. Kat also asks what I would do if I accidentally switched bodies with Hordak. Well, I suppose it depends on whether it was a temporary or permanent switch. If it was permanent, I have no clue. I expect I would cry. If it was temporary, I would wait until the last moment before changing back and then push a teaspoon up my bum. Thanks for the questions, Kat. Daniel Herrin asks if I prefer girls who wear Doc Martens or Uggs. Oh, Doc Martens for sure. That was easy. Thanks, Daniel. The retro man Randy Savage asks, have you ever been accused of cultural appropriation for wearing that hijab? No, but thanks for your concern, Randy. Dean from All Things 80s asks, Piers, JP, or Chesty? Who was the mightiest, Morgan? Well, that would be JP, although my assessment is based on which owns the most powerful moustache, or rather mustache, as he was American. And Chesty Morgan was living proof that tits can be too big. Thanks for the question, Dean. The Flyer Tractor has 2 questions. Number 1, does Eternia have a Pride Month? No, we are respectful and inclusive all year round. And question 2, I notice you seem to shake uncontrollably. Have you been screened for Parkinson's disease? Well, sir, the shaking is due to Monkey Boy being a jittery prat. He's a diabetic, and he often has tremors if his blood sugar is too high or too low. That answer is not funny, but it is accurate. Thank you for those questions. Lord Malvada has a couple of questions via Twitter. He asks, number 1, if you were to invent a new flavour of ice cream, what would it be and what would you name it? Well, I'm pretty sure I could invent ice cream all day, but the first one I'd create would be chocolate cake, and I would call it Chocolicious. And question 2, would you rather be able to read minds, but only when people are thinking about food cravings, or have the power to conjure up food, but it's always slightly burnt? Well, I can't really decide, I'm afraid, probably because I can already read minds and conjure up any food I desire. I also have the power to make people have food cravings and the ability to slightly burn people. I have all the bases covered. Thanks, Lord Malvada. Stephen Gray has 2 questions. Number 1, out of the monsters in the Monster Squad, which did you think was the crappiest? I have to say that I found Frank to be the crappiest monster, although I do understand the reasons for his character arc. I thought that Gill Man was underused, given the budget spent on the costume. And question 2, would you consider swapping your choice for one of your own minions? Well, I don't want Frank, but I would swap Merman for Gillman, as the latter looks more scary. Thanks, Stephen. Tree Theodore asks, how did the anti-repro community on Eternia affect your future forgeries after 3D printing the golden discs of knowledge? Well, they didn't affect me in the slightest. My reproductions are clearly marked with the year of manufacture and sold as replica items. If collectors don't read the listing description and study the photos properly, that's not my problem. Buyer beware. Thanks, Tree. Jason Raphael Murdoch has 2 questions to see us out. Number 1, have you ever thought about a different way to punish your minions? I recommend forcing them to listen to Yoko Ono or Taylor Swift. Yes, that's a good idea, Jason, but make no mistake, I'm always thinking up new methods of punishment and discipline. For example, this morning I made Beastman put on a pair of boxing gloves, and then I pushed a teaspoon up his bum. And question 2, is there any chance of t-shirts, buttons or stickers with your catchphrase on them? Well, if you live in the UK, there are free merch packs available. However, they are extremely limited in number, and I'm afraid I can't post overseas due to the crippling cost of shipping. And if anyone would like a small merch pack, the only way to request one currently is to contact me via Monkey Boy's Twitter and provide an address. I'm afraid I do not have a dedicated shop at this time, and I'm sorry for any disappointment this may cause. Okay, we're almost at the end of the episode. I'd just like to remind you that due to the volume of questions we receive, I can now only accept 1 question or telephone call request per person per episode. If you have a 2-part question, this will also be accepted. My apologies for having to enforce this restriction, but I hope you understand my need to do so. I want to include everybody's contributions for as long as possible, without having to cherry-pick questions each week. Thank you for your support and understanding. Whiplash, you can do the sign-off. Come on, hurry up.
Skeletor, thanks very much for watching the show, everyone. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with your minions. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and don't forget to leave a comment, a question, or a request for next week.
Right, well done, Whiplash. Right, let's go and prepare some merch packs in case anyone wants to request one. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Get out of my sight before I beat you.